I even color matched them, so that's how you know. I'm
I love it.
Like the hat.
Indeed.
Tom, that's what I want. Like that Dean the Butcher style, you know, but I can't my wife ain't gonna let me buy no cool ass hat.
Why not?
It's hard for you to pull it off.
Yeah, I end up looking like
Rodney could pull it
I end up
off.
looking like the mayor of Munchkin
No,
Land or
hats are
something.
back. Like hats are super cool now.
They
Like,
are super cool.
We should
like
talk about
you know,
hats.
DL Hughley has a line of hats with the.
I can't
famous
afford a
hat
DL
clip.
Hughley hat. I know that's a money hat. That's a money
Well,
hat.
we know that Tom and Daniel are making a lot of money.
The thing is,
I hope so.
well, we should talk about it. Hard for white dudes to pull off hats. And still look
I'm
cool.
rolling right now, so you can go whenever you want, man.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
live. Hey, Twitch. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Twitch.
Here we go. You ready?
Yep.
3, 2.
He's been in studio before, and what's interesting, we went back and checked the timeline because I was like, man, I'm virtually certain we talked to Rodney. And
But
we
was
talked
it
to him.
in this studio?
Yeah.
It was absolutely here.
Okay, so it wasn't here.
It was
so we
right
had
at the
just
beginning.
We had just built out.
Very early on, and I remember because you guys were something had happened that day, and you guys had to go do something or something, and
Yeah, it was probably it was when we first moved into the studio back in 2016, and I think it was at the end of 2016. It was like the very, very first like incarnation of even doing interviews in here.
yeah, it wasn't no video.
Yeah. Oh no,
No
no,
video.
yeah.
There's no video.
But we had Rodney Perry in, and we were talking to him. And you're here. I'm speaking to you as
Yeah,
a
yeah,
third person.
yeah. Well, there's your
Rodney,
introduction.
we're-
Wow, that was a great introduction.
Just Rodney
You want to
Perry.
redo that?
We had
On a
Rodney
crazy
Perry.
cold medicine.
We had Rodney Perry in, and then Rodney Perry's here. He's here.
Well, the reason why I was thinking about the timeline is because I was like, man, when we had you in last time, you had just had your stroke, and you were
Yeah.
talking about it.
So that's 3 years ago.
Yes,
At least.
yeah. And I remember because I was so shocked because you're like, this happened like it was like 6
Couple
months
of
ago.
months. Yeah, it was- yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, you're back working? And like,
I was literally back on stage. So I had my stroke October 30th, 2016, I think, October 30th, and I was literally back on stage before the end of the year.
That's insane because I remember
insane.
being shocked back then because
I
it was
was,
December. I was like,
idiot.
what?
It took me 2 years to get my balance really sure.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Because I even back then I didn't notice any. Since then I was watching some interviews and listening to some interviews of you talking about it like this past year and talking about all the rehab you had to go through and to get back 100%. And I remember I was like, man, when he was in here and just had a stroke a couple months ago, like he looked fine and he was like
Right.
still working and traveling.
I had very little deficit, but I did have some deficit. Even now, like, you know, I can't let myself get too fatigued. I have to manage my body. And I'm just kind of better at that.
Yeah, just listening to it. You know, that's what a lot of people say. Hey, just listen to your body, and when you get tired, just
lay down.
Yeah, gotta lay down.
Well, you know, when we were building, you know, it's like, you know, I'll sleep when I'm dead. But guess what? If you don't sleep, you'll be dead.
And and since then I've seen interviews and you've been a real advocate about people recognizing the signs of stroke, and then you have been really pushing towards getting the information out and letting people know, like, hey,
absolutely. I'm an idiot. Okay, let's start there.
All right.
So
So are we. This is great.
American Stroke says FAST. Their acronym, that FAST: face drooping, arm weakness, speech slurring, and in the event you see any of those things, it's time to go to the hospital. FAST. And I had no idea about that. If I had known, maybe I could have averted the stroke.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. You know what there was, and there are some other symptoms that presented themselves as I was leading up to the stroke. I can look back and notice now.
Yeah.
I had a condition called foot drop. So when you're normally walking, your feet kind of stay parallel to the ground, but when your toe drop, you do like that, and it'll make you stub your toe on a flat surface, just for no reason, and you're like, oh, something there, but there's nothing there. And so,
What do you think I'm thinking right now?
That you have this?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
I'm a hypochondriac.
Yeah. You gotta
I'm
hang
bad.
out.
I got Alzheimer's. I got everything.
You are too? I just went to the doctor yesterday and
Oh
they
my
told me,
God.
oh, your blood work's never looked better. I've lost 30 pounds. And the doctor's like, well, they said, congratulations, because when I went in the first time, I'd lost 20. They said, you lost another 10. Came out of there.
Now you got AIDS.
No, yeah, I came out of there with AIDS. Man. I came out.
I'm losing
got
too
in the
much,
car,
yeah.
started my car, driving down the road, getting ready to call my wife, tell her good news. I'm like,
I'm sick.
I think I got AIDS.
I
think I got it. Yeah.
So great, dude. So you go through a stroke, major brain trauma.
Yeah.
And now I'm reading about Alzheimer's and dementia, and they don't know anything about this stuff. They don't know where it starts, when it starts. So in my mind, it started.
Oh, really? Do you have like a?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just so paranoid about it, like, because they really don't know. So every time I forget something, it's dementia.
But like
This is what I do. It's exactly
Rodney,
what I
babe,
do.
where my keys?
Yeah.
the other day.
You know what? Forget it.
I just said this to you 2 days ago. I was like, the words, I can't think of the words, and I'm not fast anymore. I'm losing my fast. And I think that was just marijuana and alcohol. Probably.
Yeah.
Who knows? But what we don't know if that is the beginning stages. We don't know.
Right.
The doctors don't know, so you and I definitely don't know shit.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know shit from shit. Like I'm just living. I don't know shit.
So, Rodney, I heard in a couple of interviews you talk about how it changed your whole perspective on life after you had the stroke. And tell us about that, like, because I've often heard people talk, anytime they go through something that could have killed them,
Right.
they're like, man, I'm glad I'm survived. I'm glad I'm living still, and I'm glad I went through that because it really did change my whole perspective moving forward.
Right.
And it gave me an appreciation. But is that really how it happens? Does that
Absolutely.
fade after a while? Do you still have it?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yes, the short answer is so it changed me in this perspective. We go through this life trying to get to success, whatever that thing is, and then you're a comedian and you're in a hospital and you can't walk. You can't take a single step, and so you find yourself questioning God, like, dude, what am I to learn here? And my big takeaway was this: is I spent my whole career trying to get to the big thing way out, and I was reduced to a guy that couldn't take a single step. So success is the ability to take that step. If you can take a single step, you can take a million of them. And so forget trying to get way out.
You're making me cry right now, man.
I'm a motivator.
No, I love it. I love it because it's authentic. Because there are
very
people out
authentic.
there that try to sell it and they haven't been through it.
Yeah.
So when you speak it, I believe it. You know what I mean? Like it's
very
genuine.
true. And the crazy part, like, so of course Kevin Hart recently had a car accident.
Yeah.
And he came out of it with that perspective.
Yeah.
I talked to him recently. He was like, "Yo, Rod, man," he said, "Dude, why didn't you tell me?" And I was like, "There's no way I could communicate to you what you learned from going through this.
You got to do it. Yeah.
You got to go through it." And it's one of those things. And the other side of it is do you change? And yes, but you at some point somebody goes, "You want some wings?" And now you're back fat.
Well, it's just like anything. Everything, time goes on.
If it wasn't the skin color, I would think that we're related because, man.
We are related.
Wings. I'll fuck up some wings.
Indeed.
Yeah, and
What's your favorite?
Oh, man. I like hot garlic.
Hot garlic.
I like hot, but then mixed with garlic, so it's
Ooh.
hot garlic.
Ooh.
And then I do a side of whatever the hottest is, and I dip dab, and then I eat a dip dab.
So
and
you
then I
like
eat.
a fire booty.
A little bit. That's a great segue to something.
yeah.
Tom showed me an appearance that you had. This is a good segue.
Okay.
Where you fucked up this news channel, these news people.
Oh, it's morning.
You fucked them up so
Wait
bad.
a minute.
Okay.
I don't remember this at all.
It was earlier this year.
I did have a stroke.
And,
It's a forever
Yeah.
excuse.
You want some wings? Like,
I had a stroke.
yeah.
and I apologize. Amber Bashir is here as well.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
going to be with
Amber!
Rodney.
Yes.
And
What's up?
That mic not on.
I don't know if it's on.
Oh,
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
on.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
on.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
on. It's on.
So, and Amber knows this too. When you guys go do media at every city, a lot of times they incorporate like morning TV, right?
Indeed.
And then the morning TV is the most stuffy, like.
Rodney,
yeah. It's like the
I understand
corniest.
you had a stroke.
Yeah. It's the most corny shit, and that is what it is. It's morning.
It's not
TV.
this.
Yeah. It's morning TV, and there's a time and a place for it, and it's fine. But it's funny to me because anytime a comedian goes on there and starts fucking around and cutting up with the people, the hosts don't know how to handle it. And
I just heard him giggling because we like to do our due diligence. Like I actually feel underprepared because I didn't know she was coming, and I like to be prepared. Like I like to know who the hell you are, so I don't insult you.
So Rodney,
I think the most insulting thing I can do is you
best
come
T-shirt
in.
all time.
Oh, this is
you
down
big
the road.
dummy. Wait a minute,
Yeah,
Lamont.
well, this was my favorite show in the world. I'm wearing my West End Trading Company It's Sanford's Son shirt because Sanford's right down the road, and we work a lot in Sanford,
Florida.
So we threw a little red fox
So
on
it
there.
says it's Sanford's son.
Yeah, it's Sanford's son.
So, Rodney, you may remember this. It was a like older white lady with glasses, and her co-host was an older black guy, and they were sitting there and like and then they were like they were talking about your stroke, and then you were like you turned it on. I see it, and then I was laughing.
He's a pro. He's done this forever.
And then you were like you were talking about your CNA, and then the older white lady's like, "What? Explain to the audience what a CNA is."
And I just hear him giggling, giggling.
And you're like, well, basically, it's anything Dookie related. and then they're like, oh, and then
Dookie.
and then
Dookie
they didn't
is
know
an
how.
underused word.
Dookie is the funniest word.
And then
of
you
all
were
time.
talking about how the nurses were wiping your ass, and the lady didn't know how to
Right
handle
now,
it.
I'm nowhere near as clean as everybody.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. And you're talking about her ass isn't clean, nowhere near it was.
And
It
this
was
is on
with it.
morning TV. They're
And
not
they're like,
supposed to
"Ah!"
talk about that shit. They were losing their minds.
And you could tell, like, the lady's looking at her producer, and then
can we say Dookie? Dookie?
and I was laughing my ass off.
Rodney this weekend at the Hampton Roads.
Yeah, because I chuckles. But anyway, it was making me
God.
laugh. And did you get a kick out of fucking with those people?
I mean, the comedy is gonna be what it is.
Yeah,
like I just don't adjust it for the surroundings.
Okay,
so
Just you.
you're gonna get it. I would have done it in here. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Just did it.
I mean,
You just did it at the last
I did a
place.
set last night too, and I mean that's a part of my story. You know,
Yeah.
I mean that CNA was a real person.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and I've taken so when I'm in the hospital, right? I'm actively trying to figure out. Okay, I'm looking at my life. This is an awe moment.
Yeah.
But I can't let it be that. Like, how am I gonna lighten this in such a way where I can tell this without people feeling sorry for me?
Sure.
That was my dilemma. You know, as I was in the hospital and I was talking to my people like David Arnold and Harry Ratchford, who's one of Kevin Hart's writers. There's my buddy. So when I'm in the hospital, I'm talking to him. I'm like, man, all this funny stuff is happening to me, but I don't know how to make it where people aren't feeling sorry for me.
Yeah, because people's initial response is always like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that happened. Yeah, you okay?" I'm like, yeah.
They
And
whisper for no reason.
yeah. Oh, how are you feeling, Rodney?
Oh my God, are you all right?
Yeah.
I mean, after the stroke, your ears really.
And people feeling pity is the worst to make them laugh. You know, it's like they don't.
The worst position you can be. It's worse than bombing.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh.
We were just talking about this in the car, like how you overcome that.
Yeah. So that was my first dilemma, and so I was like, well, let's just turn it on the hospital. Turn it on the hospital. So let me just start noting everything. All these people that helped me get on my feet, the CNA, the doctors, the nurses, the most disrespected person in medicine, the male nurse.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody respects a guy that's a nurse
Yeah.
until you're in the hospital and you're 250. And they can't flip you around, and they go get Nurse Reggie to get your ass.
Nurse Reg.
Hey, dog, come on now. You know, so, I started paying attention to all that stuff, and that was and it was a part of my therapy. You know, as I got back on my feet, my brain wasn't clicking right. So, that was part of my therapy with my docs. They was like, yo, let's get him on stage. Let's get him back on his feet, get him on stage, and that'll be a way to get his recovery going.
Oh, shit.
And so they
I never thought about that.
We actively did that. And I played Madden. you know, to your Twitch listeners.
Yeah, I was playing some Madden yesterday.
Dude, I played Madden. Me and my brother, and he was beating me. You know, I was still in the hospital. He was beating me, and I was like, I don't like
that's that fine motor skills,
I don't like
right?
this shit.
Yeah,
And I started getting my skills back slowly but surely. I beat my brother before I left the hospital.
I do like your brother that he's beating you in Madden after you had a stroke. He didn't give a shit.
And he quit. This is my brother.
I want to beat this motherfucker.
My brother actually quit. Like when I beat him, he quit. And I was like, yeah, motherfucker.
Oh, you got so mad.
Kicking your ass. I'm back.
Yeah, I hate it when people do that. You catch a kickoff and you're running into the end zone. You just see player disconnect. I'm like, come on, man. I was doing good.
Come on, dog.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah,
I never thought of. Does Madden know that? That you
John
use that
Madden?
as therapy?
I
I mean, like
John
EA,
Madden.
like EA. Who
I
makes
don't know.
it.
I don't think so.
You know they're here in town. You should ask to go tour it and say.
They would let me go tour it?
I'm
Do
sure
you
they
know
would.
a guy?
I do know a guy. I can put a call out.
Put a call
I'll
out.
put a call out.
That would be so dope.
Yeah, it's Tiburon is the studio here in town.
Yeah, I've
You would
seen
be
it.
in heaven.
Yeah, they're about to move downtown. I didn't know if you were that much of a Madden head, I'd have made a call before you got here.
Dude.
I'll find out. I'll shoot
That
an
would be
email.
really
Yep,
dope.
I'll find
Dope
out.
for me.
Rodney,
That would make my day.
I think a lot of people don't know about strokes and don't know about the recovery and stuff. And I think a lot of people realize like, oh, they've had someone in their family that had a stroke and their face is drooping or they can't use the left side of the body. But cognitively, I never heard of like, does it affect your mind, how you think, how fast you are, or is it more of affecting like the nerves in your body and your face? And
All of that. All of that.
So you're getting your mind back.
If a heart attack happens to your heart, a stroke is a brain attack.
Okay.
So you have, your brain kind of governs everything. And the biggest thing that I noticed immediately is my fatigue level. Like I would get like I was like and even now I'm like a battery that can't keep a charge. Like I can charge up, I can get a lot of rest, I get sleep, but I can't maintain like I used to pre-stroke. I can't maintain that energy for long periods without more rest. And so post-stroke, I have to get my rest. I have to get, and so like I don't like so post-stroke adjustments. I really don't drink. I was a big cigar smoker.
Yeah.
I smoke maybe. Like I'll have a cigar this weekend because I'm in Orlando and you guys have a great cigar community. So I'll have a cigar this weekend, but I'll have one cigar. I was smoking 5 cigars, a week.
Gotcha.
And so you make some of those adjustments, man, and it's definitely your brain. But I had a great speech therapist. I sat with this dude every day, and he helped me to reconnect those dots. I took tests and stuff, and brain teasers, and I continue to play PlayStation, and I continue to think and write. As I could, but it was my left side was affected, so it took me some time to really get all of my motor skills, like 2 years. Literally.
Wow.
Like so I was back walking and working, and I still wasn't 100%.
Well, like that first show, though, when was it? Because I think most people that haven't been through it think, okay, when he goes back out there to really do it, is he nervous, or is it just like
I lost my long-term memory. Outset, so I couldn't remember my material. I couldn't remember nothing.
Shit.
I couldn't remember nothing that was older than a year.
No shit.
So my first set was all new stuff, and so comics, that's like dope. It's like, dude, you got all new material. I'm like, I only have this.
Yeah, I had a fucking stroke, man.
It's only the stroke stuff.
Yeah.
I got a lock on the stroke material. so I had my stroke. A comedian out of New York had a stroke at the same time. What's his name? God dog it.
Was it Aiken? Because I think
Achy Breaky Heart.
No, Aikens. Because I when I was reading an article about you, I heard that
he's one of Kevin Hart's. Kevin did a special with him. Black dude out of New York.
And he was the one that was telling you about the symptoms that he had, and you were like, I think I have that.
Well, no, that's kind of a composite of my story. But this, I found out Kevin, no, what is his name? Keith Keith
Robinson.
Keith Robinson. Keith Robinson.
Nice job.
Keith
Doing
Robinson.
some research.
I was like,
Thank
she was
you.
on the Google.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought you said that.
Yeah.
No.
That's our
Yeah.
producer, Samantha.
Well done,
Thank
Samantha.
you.
She's
Keith
good.
Robinson had a stroke, and he actually still has deficit. His was on the right side, so still has some deficit on his right side, and he and I would kind of talk about it like while I was in the hospital. He was one of my great, because he told me, you're gonna get through this, and so and even though he still had some deficit, like even now he has deficit on his right side, and he still has a bit of a limp, and he slowed down a bit, but his mind, he's like, dude, I had to get on stage, and I think that's what helped me get my cognitive stuff back quicker.
Yeah. It makes sense because how your brain has to work to perform and to focus on jokes and to write and stuff. It's working at a high level. So it's like a high level of exercise. Yeah.
It's also like a guy that stutters. It's like you do so much naturally without thinking, and so again, for me, my brain was just realizing that like walking and talking and everything we do daily, that stuff is really taxing on you. And like when you're healthy, you don't think about it, you just go. Right. But when you're not healthy, you're like, yo, I'm so tired. Like just thinking puts a weight on your physicality.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Rodney, did I read correctly that you got a part in Coming to America too?
You read correctly.
So how did that come about?
Damn, that's awesome.
Because I know you've...
Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
Holy
thank you.
crap.
It's a game changer, man.
Well, that's like, if you ask anybody which movie do you want to, which sequel do you want to be in of all time, that's in there.
Yeah,
or it is every single time, right? I don't think I've ever heard of a more. I know I'm like so pumped for this movie, man.
Well, and a couple years ago we talked to Arsenio Hall on the phone, and he was telling us about Coming to America 2, and it was like the first announcement of it, and then since then we've saw like star-studded cast.
Talking to that's in it? Just recently,
Lunel, right?
Lunel was in it.
Well, she comes in here and tears our studio
We're
apart.
family members.
I love Lunel.
Lunel and I go back, man, 20 years. We were all in the Bay Area comedy scene together.
Oh, no shit.
So I know Lunel.
We love her
I
so
know
much.
Drunk Lunel.
Yeah.
We know Drunk Lunel and got Tom really high Lunel.
Oh, yeah. She gave me a toot of her toot pen.
Magic flute. And next thing you know, this guy's having to lay on the couch.
You're better than me. I won't touch that.
Oh, she'll come in here and just tear our studio. First she'll hug us and then just tear our liquor cabinet apart.
Right.
And you dig into our fridge. She's kissing the bathroom walls. I love her. She's a maniac.
Hilarious.
So, Rodney, she
calls us, just randomly calls us, and then we talk on the show.
And she was telling us just the overall vibe of the set and the cast, and everybody just thought they hey, we're doing something special. This is going to be really good. Like, this is not going to be a disappointment. Like, everybody was into it, and so it made me excited.
Everybody
about it,
we talk to is like, unbelievable.
Oh, it's great.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, the star-studded cast and stuff. So, what was your experience like?
Man, how did it happen? First of all, I just auditioned.
Yeah, okay.
Auditioned. So when I get the audition, it doesn't say Coming to America. It says The Quest.
Oh, really?
Right. So I'm auditioning. I auditioned 3 lines for a movie called The Quest. All right, I'll do it. No problem.
You didn't have no idea it was Coming to America?
Idea. Okay. No idea. So my agent calls me. She's like, "You booked The Quest." I'm like, "All right." Oh, she was like overly excited.
Is there a reason why they don't tell people? Is they don't?
I don't know. It just had a working title, and I don't know if they wanted people to know. I don't know if they wanted people to know going in what it was.
Okay.
And it's kind of circulating around Hollywood, so I think they would kind of still try to keep it under wraps.
Yeah. Okay.
At that time, and so my agent said like, "Yo, you booked The Quest." I'm like, "Okay, all right." All right.
Yeah. No big deal.
She's like, "Rodney, that's Coming to America too." What? What? Are you serious? And so it's crazy. So you get on the set. Eddie Murphy is in the scene. The reason I do comedy, stand-up comedy, Eddie Murphy. Wow. So to be in a scene with this guy, first of all, the best human being to play a king is Eddie Murphy. This dude is regal for real.
Yeah.
It's a certain regality.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it,
dude. It's Eddie Murphy.
You mind looking that
I'll
up and
look
see
it
if
up.
that's actually word?
Regality.
Yeah.
I mean, regality.
It's Eddie Murphy.
It is a word.
Boom.
I mean, you're right, because he's
comic
lived
king,
like that.
Right? I mean, like he's been to that level.
Right.
It's so high celebrity status that I mean, it's treated like royalty for the past 20 plus years.
30
years.
Over
30. Jesus Christ.
I mean, you got to think Coming to America was 30. It's 30 years old.
Yeah.
So we're at 31 years when the movie comes out. Such a great cast. All your favorite characters are back. And then there's new characters like myself, Tracy Morgan, Leslie Jones, Lou Nell, Jermaine Fowler is in it. Very
this
funny.
Movie's got
It's
an
just stacked.
insane amount of stars.
Oh my
Well, a lot of
God.
movies get stacked, but unlike any movie that I've heard recently that has like, oh, you look at the cast, you're like, wow, huge cast. Sometimes people go like, there's a reason that it's packed. I'm not feeling that. Everybody is saying, no, you don't understand. This is going to be
a good story. It's a really good story, and it's also like a lot of times with sequels, you just hope it's as good as the first one. I think this might be better.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
You know, I think it's.
And Wesley Snipes is in there, right?
Wesley Snipes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got.
Isn't Kevin Harden doing?
Kevin Hart is not in.
Oh, okay. They go. Louis Anderson.
Louis is the one that came out though, and he said, "Look, I'm just going to tell y'all straight up and down.
Don't ask me.
This will no." He's like on TMZ. He's like, this is the greatest. He's like, this will crush the box office. He's like, the vibe, the cast is phenomenal.
They're saying it may do Marvel numbers in terms of what Black Panther did.
I could see it.
And so
I've got friends that are
it's
already
so
gathering their
iconic.
costumes with the sash.
people
Like
are
seriously, they're
people
so
are gonna
excited.
be dressing and doing stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, I've done a couple of movies. I did a movie called Medea's Big Happy Family. I did a movie called John's Family Vacation. Each one made like around $50 million respectively.
Well done.
I still get checks from those movies. I'm so excited for the
How does that?
residuals from this movie. I will be buying drinks for 30 years.
How do residuals even work?
That's a lot of wings.
Like we're so far removed from the movie business. Like
Okay.
when you get a part, and does everybody that gets a speaking role?
Like
get
to me,
how does
residuals
it
are
work?
always negative. It's usually like an ex-girlfriend Facebook.
Residual.
Yeah, that's just a residual horrible time in my life.
And is it percentage? How does it work? Do you
Okay,
know?
so here it goes. I did a movie called The Informant with Matt Damon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right, I was in The Informant. Now, if you saw the movie, you go, Rodney, you weren't in The Informant. Okay, they cut me out.
Uh-huh.
All right, so I get paid for that day. I get paid for the wardrobe. I get paid for that. But I do not get residuals from that movie because they cut me out. They cut my lines out. You have to be speaking.
Okay.
You have to be speaking or have a prominent non-speaking role. Like, so if you're Sylvester Stallone and you might just do a walkthrough, you're still significant to it, and you didn't speak, you can still be in residuals. So you don't necessarily have to speak to get residuals, but a extra is not going to get any residuals if they do not say anything.
Gotcha.
All right. So if you have lines, you have lines. So when I did Johnson Family Vacation, I worked for 4 weeks. I got SAG minimum, which was $2,500 a week at that point. So I made like $10,000 for the movie.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I made for the movie. Over the last decade or 2 decades, I probably made $150,000 off that movie.
Oh, really?
Easily.
And is it a percentage of how much of you were in the movie? Like what's your cut?
It's different. It's a scale level which I was on, but let's say Amber's a bigger star.
Yeah.
She might make a deal, and they might give her percentage points of the bigger deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So a guy like Will Smith. You know, Will Smith, his residuals, he's getting points on the back end.
Right.
Yeah. So how successful it is. Yeah.
He's in the net. He's in the gross of the movie itself.
That's what Tom Cruise does with like every movie.
He's
right?
making
Like,
crazy money.
Yeah.
You know, like Tom Hanks is noted for making some of the best deals in history with Forrest Gump because he got a piece of the merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
So all that Bubba Gump shit and all that, he made $1 billion. Restaurants, all that shit, he get a piece of that.
He's driving a Bentley, there's a fucking shrimp hat. A fucking shrimp hat.
Yeah, she got all that. So for a guy, for the lowest levels, speaking lines, which I was on, I have made, like, so it's a family movie. So every family time of the year, the movie gets rerun.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so
awesome.
so Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, I'll see Johnson Family Vacation, and I did another movie with Tyler Perry, Medea's Big Happy Family.
Yeah.
So I'll see those movies constantly get replayed, and as you see it somewhere, you know a check is on the way.
Really? So, do you have any idea?
Excite me. You're walking through the airport, you look over, you see it on, you're like, yeah.
Right.
About next quarter, I should be getting a check.
And so, Rodney, do you have any idea? Does your like accountant tell you, like, based on
Check will just show up to the house. You know, you got bean counters. You know, the Screen Actors Guild, they count all that stuff. And so they, you know, the producers, and my portion is relatively small.
Sure.
So imagine Cedric the Entertainer,
Yeah.
who was a star of the movie,
Yeah.
and a producer. He'll get probably 3 big checks. If I made 100,000, 150, he's made probably 10 million.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so, but do you have any idea of the amount of, or do you just show up and like open your mailbox like, oh, $8,000 today, or oh, 3,500, and like is it just surprise every time?
It gets exponentially small over years.
Okay, yeah.
So my first check was probably like that, like 8 or 10. And, you know, I think I got a check for like $300 last week.
Oh, okay, but it just keeps coming. It's like a steady
The gift to keep on giving, baby.
God, that's nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's like a little gift every time you
so it
surprise.
becomes less valuable over time.
Yeah.
You know, people have seen it. So, but
that
cable,
coming to
with
America.
all these cable outlets, people are like, right now, I want to say the Tyler Perry movie is running on like Stars or something.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so a new cable, the person will buy it, and you know, you'll see free cable, and it'll be running, and I'll be like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm out at the barbershop or something, and I see it on TV, I'm like, okay, here we go.
Wow,
that's awesome.
So you're right. When they're coming to America too,
my
is going to
God.
be gigantic.
And it's
Or imagine a guy like Sam Jackson. That guy's been in
so many
4,000 movies. He's got to be getting residuals every day.
Yeah. How does he even keep track of it?
He just go to the mailbox, go, oh,
Yeah, he's got a guy.
Yeah. But you get like so many checks.
Oh, it's probably a pile of checks. It
It's a
probably
direct
looks
deposit.
Like he has checks like we have bills. You know, they're just like
The
up on,
reverse.
they're on your
You're
center
wasting
island.
a bunch of paper here. Just direct deposit money and shit,
Right.
right? So how did you hook up with Amber? Obviously not hook up.
I'm
with
not
her,
hooked
but-
up.
Yeah, we're not hooking up.
I phrased that
He is
wrong.
happily
I'm sorry.
Amber is trying to give me the goods.
Oh, stop it. He is
Many
happily
times.
married.
I just meant starting to work together. I
His
use the
wife
wrong
is gonna
words.
murder me.
ruin
You were
it.
saying, like,
I'm sorry. I know.
She's gonna end all this touring because of your comments.
You
can
You've
fuck
ruined my
people's
career.
lives up doing shit like
Right,
that,
you've
man.
ruined my career.
I just meant started working together. I'm sorry.
Now we go back at least 12 years or
Yeah.
so, and I remember when Amber first started doing stand up, and she's just been developing over time.
Right on.
And you know, for me as a guy that works comedy clubs and I headline, you know, from time to time I get an opportunity to bring somebody,
Yeah.
and they're usually my friends, and you know, just so you have somebody that's cool on the weekend, you get a chance to bring somebody. I mean, if I can, I just give my friends that leeway from time to time.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's
Amber is
awesome.
with me this weekend. I
That's
got
awesome.
another buddy that'll be with me next weekend in Richmond, Virginia, and in what I got, Hartford, Connecticut, first of the year. You know, I'll bring another buddy out there, and she's my buddy.
Awesome. Amber, what's kind of your story of getting into stand up?
Oh God, I started almost 12 years ago now
Yeah.
in Los Angeles, and he was imperative. Rodney was imperative in the beginnings of my career, especially because he was kind of the person that gave me those little jewels that you need as you're building your stand up.
Yeah.
Rodney was always in the back corner.
Some wisdom nuggets, right?
Yeah, and even now, like, he lives in Atlanta and I live in Los Angeles, but we talk probably twice a month at least.
That's not true.
No, come on.
You just made that up.
No, like either
I haven't talked to you in.
No, see.
Who are you?
No,
I don't know this lady.
No, either like an IM or something like that.
That's not talking.
That is communication. It is communication.
Okay, indeed.
But here's
This
the
is
thing.
what buddies too.
Yeah.
By the way, they fuck with each other. Bad.
Right, you see how he's doing me right now. You know,
I do it to him, so
Right.
I'm on Rodney's side.
Amber, because it seems to me Rodney's cool enough to like want to help other people out. And know in the comedy world, not everybody's like that. A lot of people are very like, well, listen, I got mine, and fuck
Good
everybody
luck.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, very
And
true.
people get jaded and stuff, and like, so how rare is it that like a guy like Rodney will be willing to help you out and or even give you advice and actually care?
It's rare.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been on the road with Coco Brown. I've been on the road with Talent last year. Talent, the comedian, he's based out of New York. And doing this weekend with Rodney. There's not many people that'll take you out because there's a lot of factors to it. There's a trust factor as a female going out with a male, like, and all the Me Too stuff that happened. A lot of male comedians have said, hey, we don't want to take a female out because we don't want to deal with the possibility or the potential of there being this situation.
Hold on, male comedians have been inappropriate to people? I've never heard of
No,
that.
never.
What?
Right. And then a lot of female
Get out of here.
You heard it here first, everybody.
they're all
Breaking news.
Justin.
Male comedians have been inappropriate to
Breaking news.
their
Stay out of
counterparts.
my room after 12.
we can just say
Pull their
males.
dicks out.
Right, yeah, all males.
Dicks for everybody.
Dicks forever.
A lot of pulling their dicks out.
That's why we have a one plant rule here at TND Media. We have Greg the plant. He's back there. Unfortunately, he's allergic to penises.
Started jacking it in front of you.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Wait, use
Why?
their influence
In
and
his
power.
defense, if you're in my room after midnight,
You asked for it.
that's what it is.
So there's that. There's the trust factor.
When the clock strikes 12, I'm jacking it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Whether you're here or not, I'd leave.
Yeah, it's like the grossest Cinderella ever. It's like no glass
Get outta
slippers.
here.
Don't leave your
No glass
slippers.
slippers. Only pearl necklace.
Oh Lord. I walked into that one. See
You
what
started
happened.
that. You started that.
He asked me
Don't
how
walk
rare it
into
is.
that, Amber.
This
No.
is very. It's rare. It's rare. And then female comedians, a lot of times, it's rare that you see a female headliner and a female feature.
Very true.
It's very, very rare. So it's difficult. But I'm really lucky. I've been surrounded with people like Rodney and from the beginning of my career, and I can't ask for anything more than that.
That's awesome.
So, Rodney, after you filmed Coming to America 2, do you have
Coming with America.
Yeah.
is another-
This guy jacks it. When you guys think he's gonna jack, he's like, he's mighty.
Coming with America.
Coming on, America.
Yeah.
So excited.
God damn it.
Cannot
I
wait.
know,
You're a disgusting piece of shit. Get the fuck out of here. How
so-
dare
we're
you
such
talk to my friends?
We're
this
such
way?
I
guys,
was
though.
so
We
close
all
to-
went there at the same moment. When you said it, I saw your mind go, oh, shit.
He was thinking about it. He's like, he was thinking, the reason his mind wandered, he's like, when can I jack off today? Do I have any time today?
First of all,
Creating those pearl
First of all,
necklaces.
I jack off every chance I get.
I
I
heard that
tell
in
my wife,
comedian.
if they leave the house, it's showtime.
Yeah, that's what
They
I did.
left me last week and they went to the outlet. And when I tell you, I almost jacked myself to death. I have no more emollients.
getting hot. He's gonna take his hoodie off.
There are no
Tom took
more emollients in my house.
Oh, and after the stroke, you can give yourself the best stranger.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my left hand is ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
The best stranger.
All right. So, do you have any other movies coming up that you plan on doing?
I have a couple of projects coming down the pipe. I'm developing a TV show right now. I give you a little taste. Think stand-up comedy competition meets World Series of Poker. And that's kind of the idea. And so we're in process. We're going to shoot a pilot at the top of the year, and a friend of mine, Ricky Hughes, who is like one of Dave Chappelle's producers, is working with me on it. So we're gonna get that out there. Hopefully we can get it on the air, man. I wanted to end up on one of the major networks. So.
What is the business like now where there's so many different avenues to get your stuff out that it seems like it's unlimited amount of ways to release your content, even if you want to release it yourself. You put it on
YouTube,
YouTube, whatever. It's like it's so. With that though comes like a flood of where everybody's got a special. There's unlimited specials.
Well, there's so many that I can't
specials aren't special.
I can't watch them now because I can, but I don't have time to hit all of them. If I wanted to, back in the day, you would save those up and you'd say like, oh well,
you could binge them.
I haven't seen this one. I got 2 to get to, and now I could probably watch 50.
We were talking to Bill Bellamy last week about this. Like, there's so many specials out there. There's so many ways to release content. It used to be like, you got an HBO special, like it's a rare.
It was special.
Yeah. Now it's just unlimited. You think that hurts?
I mean,
your business
to get eyeballs on you. It never hurts.
Okay.
Ultimately, for me, it's all about selling tickets at the clubs. And so specials just create an avenue where people want to consume you more. And so, I mean, does it hurt? I don't think it hurts, but it's definitely the Wild Wild West.
And it's
the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
It's Wild Wild West. It's a new way to get famous. Like social media is a new way to kind of garner attention. When I was coming up, it was all about getting on television, getting a movie, and now it's like you can become famous from your phone.
Yeah.
And so that in itself changes the whole atmosphere. But the outlets don't affect that. How people consume comedy is different.
Sure.
You know what I was going to ask you about? Samantha, look up who was that social media comedian that was going to be at the Improv, and then all of a sudden it was like all shows are sold out, and then they canceled. So we've seen a lot of this before, where like these new social media comedians get super famous on social media, start doing clubs, and we've talked to a lot of like old school stand-ups that are like, man, they'll sell out the club for the weekend, but they only have 15 minutes. Like they don't, so the audience that went to see them like probably won't go back to see them, but they sold out the club instantly.
First of all, when the comedian said that, you tell them, shut the fuck up.
All right.
Okay, first of all, this is the irony of that idea. The people that come to see these guys, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They don't give a fucking flying fuck. If this guy's at 15 minutes, that's the 15 minutes I want to see, and I'll pay my money to see it. It's a new group of people. Like the people that'll come see comedian, 20-year vet, Rodney Perry in the game, those people know comedy. They're introducing a new group of people. Like that only live in social. So they've ventured out into real life to see this guy. They want to see him.
Right.
Period.
So it's apples and oranges at that point.
They don't care what they're doing.
It's some comedians, right, that I respect. So Country Wayne is one of those guys.
Yeah.
We've had him in here.
But he's really developed a good act, right, over the years.
Sure.
He's been circulating for 5 or 6 years. So his act, he's just got to grow in front of our eyes. That's all. So you got Country Wayne, and they stuck him where he was gonna have to follow like one of the vet guys that's supposed to be like a beast, right?
Yeah.
And so they stuck the guy on the show. Man, that dude destroyed the place. And they was like, oh, what Wayne gonna do? Then people forgot about that man immediately. Wayne walked out. They were there to see him.
Right.
They didn't give a so what? You're funny, sir. Thank you for opening for Wayne. You're a great opening act. This is our guy.
Yeah.
And they came to see him, and it's just like,
and that's what counts, right? Yeah.
That's all that counts.
Yeah.
The clubs don't give a shit. The clubs like, who sells tickets?
Right.
Bottom line. And so if you're Rodney Perry, you either adjust or get left behind. So on my social media, we started developing this whole Uncle Rodney thing. So I'm doing Uncle Rodney. Uncle Rodney has a take on everything, and so all the comics, up and coming comics, I'm their lightweight uncle anyway. And so now when I do my side by side commentary, so because we all research this stuff, full face works on social, full face commentary, full face, and split screen says comedy. Before I even click on it, I know this guy is saying something funny. And so I chose to do the split screen. So I do split screens with commentary, and that stuff has been steadily growing my social media.
So your view on it is basically,
I think he has a way more healthier view than most of the guys.
Like,
you are
don't
one
bitch about it. This is the new reality.
You, sir, are one of one. You're one of one.
You get left behind.
Everybody that's come in, not everybody, but you're one of one comedian that we've had in here that I think your take on it, and maybe this, I don't know what, I think you have a very realistic and healthy way of looking at everything, but I think that's a very honest, truthful, and healthy way of looking at it, because to bitch about it, to me, it's a sour grapes.
You just look like a hater.
You do look like a hater.
Or like the old man that on the porch saying like, oh, this is new.
Back in my day.
Yeah. You're not doing it right. It's like, the world's changed.
You know,
everybody recognize, every era will yield something new. Cedric the Entertainer talked about it. He's like, dude, he said they thought the way you guys are addressing the social media guys, they said it about me, because he was doing stuff that was unconventional. He had music bits and stuff like that. Nobody was doing that. So when he hit, he was like who the hell is this guy? And so every area is going to yield that. People are just getting famous differently.
Yeah.
That's it. They just get famous differently.
And in the business, because it's a business, all that matters is can you sell tickets? Will people buy tickets? There it is. And
Bottom line.
It doesn't matter what you do. That's why I always laugh when people give so much shit to like Carrot Top or Jeff Dunham. It's like, selling tickets. Like
Carrot Top
he's
is
working.
a genius. He looks crazy as hell.
I know.
Orange skin and muscles.
We're
and
the buddy
shit.
right
Ticket
there.
sales don't lie.
Well, he's from this area, so we know him. And when we went to Vegas a while ago, we went backstage and we went into his like cave, I guess his green room, because he's got that residency at the Luxor. So we're backstage in there, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, this motherfucker is a god. He's sponsored by Crown fucking Royal. That's his main sponsor. It comes out of the ceiling in one of those crystal, like chandelier drops, and then there's Crown Royal in it.
Carrot Top's been making money for what, 40 years?
At
least.
Yeah.
40 fucking years.
Yeah.
We talking about residuals. We got excited over my little $300. Carrot Top has been making big money for the better part of 40 years.
Oh, Sam, look him up. Look him up again. His net worth. I love it when we look at it, because it's always way more than I think it is.
I would say, before she even says it, I would say Carrot Top's net worth is up $50 million.
Anybody else guesses?
Man,
I think
I'll go double just to be a contrarian. 100 mil.
I'll go 75.
75.
Wow. I split the difference. I was the gambler.
Betting man, yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of putting your hair in windy pigtails.
But in my defense and my number, they have me at 5 million.
All right.
So it's probably skewed a bit up.
Yeah, you see, like, I don't got 5 million.
Your level of honesty is I love it. I fucking love it.
I'm
man.
sure.
Yeah, I love it. It's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
Well, Rodney, thanks so much for coming by.
Yeah, both of you guys, thanks for stopping by, y'all.
Yeah.
It's always fun to have folks come in. I love it when we get to meet new folks.
At Amber Brashear, you could follow her on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, amberbrashear.com.
You can also see her.
Yeah, and see her.
She's a redhead. And she says the carpet matches.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't do it, Rodney. Don't do it.
I didn't say the carpet.
He's jacking it.
No, we had a
We did have a conversation earlier, but let's get this straight. I didn't say anything about what the reality was. I said,
you didn't.
You asked me
People
what men
ask
say,
you,
and I said, men always ask me, does the carpet match the drapes? And I said, well, first of all, why does it even matter? Because if you ask and you want something out of it anyways, it doesn't really matter what's going on.
Out of it?
Yeah. See,
Yes, just stop. Just stop. You're not going to do what you did to me at the radio station at this place.
Get the plant.
Somebody got Chirac, grab the plant. Rodney's got a boner.
He is trying.
Rodney's
He
got a
is
boner.
trying me this morning.
Also, who the hell
I love
cares?
Amber. She
Who
just,
says that to you?
What color's your pubes?
I'm having a Miller
Amber's
Lite,
a
and I'm
nice
like,
person.
no, carpet matches the drape.
Oh, now you're going to sugarcoat it.
Indeed.
Also, what guy would be like, oh, it doesn't? I'm not interested.
out.
In that. Like,
I'll
Yeah,
pass.
what happens
Right.
if somebody says no?
That's my point.
I
What if
only
it's-
like
yeah.
red pubes. That's weird.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I can't eat the blondes. Can't eat the blondes. Can't eat the blacks.
Sorry.
Doesn't matter.
Sorry, ma'am.
I'm a red pube only.
Right.
Two shows tonight, 2 shows tomorrow. Do you got a show on Sunday?
I do.
Show on Sunday. It's the 221 Rodney Perry. Go see him at the Improv Orlando for tickets. You guys know. Thank you guys.
We're going to do
Wow,
a quick
thank you, guys.
set change. We'll be back with the Friday Free Show momentarily. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in a minute.
Thank you.
Twitch, we'll set change. We'll see you guys at noon. Bye.